going. I have that musician right here, so.
If he tried to kiss your daughter with a camera rolling, he'll try more than kissing her alone. Cozy up with Jill for a photo like
musician right here, so.
You know I hate to kill the messenger, but if he's gotta go, we can FaceTime. Slit his throat while he stares into the phone.
Musician right here,
so. You don't know, kitten,
yep.
Now you know. You know I hate this is where austerity has gotten us. This is all that palpable excitement for a 20-year wait, unforgiveness for your student loans. Yep. But the distraction's a distraction, and it's time to see some action. So here's one last song for Joe. Before I try to keep his name out of the lyrics of my phone. Try to shift the focus to our senators and everyone in Congress who is all doing
whatever.
To be hidden while we're wasted to the bone. It is not food insecure, it's starvation, and it lurks in almost half the country's homes. So if you plan to lay it out, hold your nose and vote for Joe, have the guts to admit that you chose to submit.
That's fine.
You decided lending your support to a pedophile must be a step.
Whatever.
A man that spent his whole life implementing laws that dehumanized people of color is a vote against fascism. When you know damn well he's just a kinder, dumber face on the same white nationalism.
That's fine.
So baby, throw away your scruples with the memories of your activism. Watch your weak resistance usher in a fucking cataclysm.
Right. I have two rock fins going. I am pretty sure the rock fins are all working. God. No, ma'am. Right. I have two rock fins going. I am pretty sure the rock fins are all working. God. No, ma'am. I have two rock fins going. I am pretty sure the rock fins are all no, ma'am.
That's some fucking
I have two rock fins going. I am pretty sure the rock fins are all no, ma'am.
That's some fucking
I have two rock fins going. I am pretty sure the rock fins are
That's some fucking
Legend says that Hercules swept Cerberus right off his feet and effortlessly set him down softly as a songbird. Atlas kept the world upon his back, and every day wondered whether Hercules stand at Anil's right off his feet and effortlessly Reade came out to say the man they tried to label the Messiah of morality was really just another race. Wondered whether Hercules stand at Anil's. And I don't intend to hesitate when asked who was the stronger. Tara, like Assange, knew that carrying the truth would be the hardest labor. Tara knew that her assailant wasn't gonna make us any stronger, and knew he's just the type of man to hand a decent foreign reader U.S. printed walking papers. Tara knew that her assailant he'd be relentless and aggressive in the war he'd wage upon her very character. That his attempts to weaken and degrade and embarrass her would be her only compensation. But I strongly doubt that anyone could ever have foreseen the stream of hate that came from quote progressives, the self-styled titans of survivor advocation. But I strongly doubt that if you really think there's something to this game out of sharing your pain with the world, you are sorely styled titans of survivor advocation. The Biden team just drug their feet addressing Tara's allegations. Until they had a decent list of smears, then they aired them out on every station. And it turns out no one wants to hear the truth of who they praised as being worthy of such bloated liberal celebration. That no one wants to really know the person they've so valiantly defended, even when it meant they had to gloat and shit all over someone braver than they'd be if given the occasion. Now cue the faceless comment squad invasion. Cue those fuckers crawling out the wokeness shit all analyze the way you wore your hair and what you wear. Like your appearance waves your rights, or that somehow you're the reason for your situation. Somehow they've decided you should bear responsibility for what such monstrous men insist on doing. Somehow they're deluded by the empty, hypocritical, and useless fucking platitudes that bastard keeps on spewing. And I think it's very telling that the best of their excuses when they try to come and justify our president's abuses is a hearty butt Trump. In which case I'll remind you that you never saw the news attempt to sell us Donald Trump like he was morally upstanding or a decent human. But when Joe says something bigoted or ogles someone's little kid, CNN says, isn't this refreshing? Biden's like a mix of JFK and FDR with all the finer parts of Harry Truman. Christ, I know that they don't think that we're the brightest, but at least pretend we got a couple lumens. Ask yourself if you have ever questioned what they fed you, or do you just shut your eyes and then consume it? And now ask yourself if you ate every one of Biden's lies under guise of harm reduction and the promise of a slight improvement. And now imagine long ago that Biden chose to show you who he really was by traumatizing you for his amusement. Now imagine that you watched him touch a Bible with those filthy hands, and then assume the power of the highest seat in all the land, of knowing your attacker wields a global coalition born of three-letter agencies who'll make a life's mission out of trying to discredit you through lies, damn lies, and collusion. Big tech is never gonna separate from our surveillance state. Fuck's sakes, they're just a breath away from total fusion. So there will come a time where even if you see the light, your voice will never reach the sky through all the bots and all the noise pollution. So trust us when we tell you that the masking of abuses is perhaps this country's oldest institution. And I know nothing nobler than facing it in honor of the truth when you know that the people holding power have been neutralizing truth since there was wet ink on the Constitution. So know that Tara's truth is something crucial to the movement. And if you see yourself a partner to the revolution, help this country see through all the baseless propaganda through the crux of Joe's illusions. And recognize that Tara Reade gave everything she had so she could tell us what the truth is. Recognize the decent thing to do when someone bears their soul and shows their bruises is not to ask for context or offer up your own solutions. Your job is just to listen with an honest mind and put yourself on Tara's side a moment so you understand the path she chooses. That there is no instant fame worth the dragging of your name. And if that's what you think, you've a lot to learn about the kind of facts the mob can handle and the kind that it refuses. You've a lot to learn about the news and all its many uses. Guess you've yet to learn the truth the news will serve as fruit from which they've squeezed out all the juices. And we all eat the husk and just pretend it's full of nutrients and isn't really useless. But the jaws of our ability to yield accountability are absolutely toothless. So don't you kid yourself that any lips are being loosened. They won't ever tell us where the bodies are or show us where the proof is. It's on you to recognize the lechery our president so regularly oozes. It's on you to muster up some honesty and ask yourself how Biden won your trust, but it's America that loses. Open up your eyes and learn to recognize the bruises. Open up your eyes and learn to recognize the bruises.
You know, sir, I like you much better with my glasses off.
I guess I was born with the curse of foresight. Cause I knew Joe was only gonna represent the war side. And that said, I just came to fight. You could keep the or flight. Save the surprise and the gasp when the shadow of the fascists have cast is on your doorstep and the glow of your porch light. Save the surprise when the grid goes down and we go underground to lick wounds in the gloom of a torchlight. While up in the sky, a blimp glides by with a sign like New Year's 2022. Brought to you jointly by Pfizer and Coors Light. While the centrists observe from a comfortable courtside, right in the thick of the action behind a partition. We're in a morbid position, a plague of evictions, born a comorbid condition, of the cancer of wealth. I fantasize that I cancel myself. Hands on your head, throw your best laid plans in the well. There are no more answers, questions go back on the shelf. All Joe's donors, a quick show of hands. How many of you sub to the Lockheed Martin OnlyFans? How many are loyal as patrons for the Raytheon Patreon? Occupy Iraq and send 1 million off into the great beyond. Cool yourself with the safety on. True to yourself in as much as you dutifully spew out a mucus of QAnon. You can't convince me the capital wasn't surrendered with every intention of digging us deeper down into the treacherous webbing of censorship, ebbing your speech and dissension so you can't hold Biden accountable. Not in his mentions and not in the streets. Know to the end that Joe will defend the elite. Joe won't embarrass McConnell, but Joe's not embarrassed if all of your children are hungry and weak. Too hungry to speak. Too hungry to stand, they just lie at his feet. Joe is fresh out of empathy, fresh out of policy, but he'd love to know, what was your favorite ice cream flavor to eat? Back when you used to eat. I guess the road isn't rocky for people who thought we were free. They'll believe what they read, and Joe's here to lull them to sleep. Counting us down by the dozens, the culling of gullible sheep, led to the slaughter by media tyrants and government thieves. These are the leeches that stubbornly suck where there's nothing to bleed. These are the tumors that force us to crawl on our knees. This is the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. One was foreclosed in 08. One was condemned in 16. This is the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. One was foreclosed in 08. One was condemned in 16. This is the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. One was foreclosed in 08. One was condemned in 16. This is the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. One was foreclosed in 08. One was condemned in 16. This is the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. One was foreclosed in 08. One was condemned in 16. This is the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. One was foreclosed in 08. One was condemned in 16. This is the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. One was foreclosed in 08. One was condemned in 16. This is the home of the brave. This is the land of the free. One was foreclosed in 08. One was condemned in 16. This is the home of the brave. This is the...
Survival. And if you just listened to that intro song, you just heard my next guest, Jett. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome Jesse. Jett is a musician and activist, and he's an all-around fantastic person, artist, creator, and soon to be a podcast host as well.
Yeah.
So, hi, Jess.
Hi. How are you doing?
I am, well, you know what? I'm going to be transparent. I just spilled water all over myself right before, and my mic, right before we started. So if I'm using my hair to cover, it's that. And I spent the day in a bureaucratic seventh circle of hell. In other words, I was at a federal office. I won't name the Social Security Administration office I was at, but yeah. So anyway, I had to do.
So you made a whole day out of it, is what I'm understanding.
Huh?
So you made a whole day out of it, right? You couldn't get enough. You decided to just.
Oh yeah, no. I had planned to do this errand that I had to do for some other errand, and then it was like those errands morphed, and I had to go to something to do with my Social Security card and verify myself, who I am, and stuff like that. Anyway, long story short, people that work in federal offices aren't happy. I don't know if anyone knows that. But they don't seem like, they don't tell jokes, they don't laugh at jokes, and they don't like seem to have natural ability to empathize.
Yeah.
But they love circular conversations. That's what I learned today. Which took 7.5 hours of learning that. So
I think that qualifies as purgatory. I don't know if that's circle of hell as much as it is purgatory.
The seventh circle of hell, or a federal. It's like, and you know what? When I went back to the other place that I had to do this one thing for, they were like, "Isn't it weird how nothing works anymore?" And I'm like, "Actually, let's have a conversation about that."
Right? Planned obsolescence for you, buddy.
Yeah. So how have you been? You have some amazing news for us.
I do, yeah. So we are going to be kicking off my show on Indie News Network, which we're going to be doing bi-weekly, looking like. And we're going to be firing up our first one May 3rd.
May 3rd.
Yeah.
Great.
Probably 10 Eastern. We'll hammer out exact time, but I'm thinking it'll be a late affair.
Nice.
But it's going to be called American Tradition, and we're going to pick a topic that is kind of a core quality of the real America, like homelessness, poverty, sterilization of immigrants, the genocide, the things we do best. I'll kind of deep dive into a few of my own pieces that discuss that. And then at the end, highlight someone that's doing something about the cause. But it's going to be me and Indy. Indy's going to be my Ed McMahon for this. So we'll just be kind of hanging out, and it's going to be as interactive.
Of you youngsters who don't know who Ed McMahon is. Right. Yeah, come on, you're sounding like a boomer there, Jesse. That was from the Johnny Carson show, which is way before all of our times. Anyway, pretending. But go ahead, Jess.
We really want to try to do like as interactive with chat as possible. Like if I was getting to just sit and play for everyone, I want to be able to have Indy kind of fielding questions. So if anyone has a question about a line or a song, like to be able to just talk with everyone and do that in real time. So it's really just an opportunity for me to get to do like the intimate little shows that I would be doing with you all if we were in the same town. And yeah, so it's just I'm really excited, and Indy and everybody at INN is just like, it's been the perfect place to feel like I'm comfortable, I'm at home in this group of people to start doing this. So yeah, I'm really excited.
It's awesome. I mean, I joined the INN too, and I just feel so happy, and they are so. And Reef is on with us right now. Reef is engineering from INN. Hi, Reef.
Yep.
He's one of the
shout
founders.
Out to Reef. We love you.
He's one of the magical engineers, producers.
Mm-hmm.
Hi everyone, love you too.
Yeah.
And shout out too, because Reef went like 0 to 60 with this. Like a couple years ago, Reef was not doing this, and now Reef is a whiz with all of this. And he and Indy really make an awful lot happen, and we owe them a great deal. So yeah,
we do.
Thank you guys.
It took me like a week to try to get my Shure microphone to work right. So I have there is so much that goes behind. Like people just go on the shows and they think, oh, these live streams, they're just live streams on Rockfin and Rockfin and on YouTube. It's just easy. No, it's really not.
It's really not. It's super not.
A bit of knowledge.
Yep.
And a bit of, I don't know, tech, magic, fairy dust.
Yeah,
to make it
for
work.
sure. Yep.
Yeah. That's
so
my
yeah.
way of saying that I have no idea. But I'm on. It makes me so happy.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm so glad that you're doing a show. And last week it was really. I just want to say how grateful I am for you coming on the show. I had a guest. I don't know if anyone saw this that's listening right now, but I had Ruben Langdon on. And he was running behind, and so Jesse came on and very nicely did rapport and did a song, and it was really cool. So, and in fact, we didn't even get to do our segment last week of Tinfoil Timothy, who is this conspiracy dude from Georgia who likes to call in and likes to make his commentary. And so Reef, I don't know, do you have that video? It's like 2 minutes and we can play it really quick.
Tinfoil Timothy. Yeah, that's what they call me now. Sure, because I had a Faraday hat when I was younger, because I didn't want radio waves penetrating my ganglia. What's wrong with that? Well, when you're a kid, Ernie Stickles and his stupid friend Chad used to call me Tinfoil Timothy. Well, now I'm Timothy from Timey Code Enforcement. Okay, violators, so look out, because I will ticket you. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about all that. I'm here to talk about extra dimensionals, as we know them now, which the government just came out and said publicly that everything I've been saying all along is true. They're among us. They do exist. You don't believe me? Look at Mitch McConnell.
Can you turn up his volume?
Human? Are you crazy? I'd like to see the DNA results on that particular specimen. And I'm pretty certain that's the only time anyone has ever used the word specimen when referring to Mitch McConnell, unless they were doing some sort of turtle research or something. That is not a person. I can't know that for sure, but I do believe it. And here's the other thing. It's extra dimensional. Okay, Demi Lovato? Demi Lovato wants to be all woke and say, I don't like the word aliens. It's derogatory. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, she said, I call them ETs. That's also derogatory. That's a little guy from a movie. That's a character. Why don't you just call them Smurfs or something? You probably use the R word. That's so last year, extraterrestrial. They're extra dimensionals. And yes, it does offend them if you don't refer to them correctly, because yes, of course it's offensive. And you don't want them being offended. The retribution from extra dimensionals is swift. And there's consequences for them being offended. I know this because Mother's handsome friend Moisha, who's a rabbi and will also never be my dad, has a cousin who once was roommates with a person who worked in Arizona, a little place they call Area 51. So he has a little bit of information. And if you knew what he told me that he told him about what he saw, you would know and feel the way I do about this, that you better say extra dimensional unless you want swift and vicious retribution from another species. The bearded butchers, I don't know if you saw this on Tucker Carlson, who claims to know what's going on most of the time, but excuse me, the bearded butchers, they claim that cattle mutilation is due to extra dimensionals. They didn't say that. They used a derogatory slur. But, yeah. No. I can tell you from firsthand knowledge that it's actually barbecue places with low budgets that have to rustle other people's cattle, and they blame it on extra dimensionals. More retribution! Are you crazy? You are poking the bear. And by bear, I mean extra dimensional. I can't even talk about this anymore. Good luck sorting it out, okay? Have fun speculating about things that I already know because someone told me about something that someone told them that they had heard from someone else that they saw. And so, yes, it lives in my ganglia that is protected by, yes, a Faraday hat, because I'm not crazy.
The best place to stop with that freeze, that last frame.
Great. And it's true, extra dimensionals. There you go. But actually,
now
it is true that Demi Lovato, I guess, did say that it was a derogatory term to say UFOs or aliens, to not call them aliens, to call them extraterrestrials. He said. Anyway,
I'm taking note of that right now. To me.
Yes. So, audience, I hope everybody likes Tinfoil Timothy. He had thoughts on last week's show and sent them in.
Got me too. You're poking the bear, and by bear I mean extra dimension. Oh God.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay.
Oh,
So, Jesse, I'm thinking, you know what? We need a song.
okay.
Because today, you know what was weird? I have to say this before you go on. I was planning on doing this thing that I had to do and be home, and then I was going to do some stuff on Twitter and like promote, you and I being on the show tonight and do all this other stuff. And as you know, I got sucked into the time
portal.
warp
Yep.
that is
Mhm.
okay. So let me imitate how they move in a federal agency. Hello. May I help you? Yeah. So it was like time just slows you. You're in a time, and of course they go through all your personal belongings, making sure you don't have a gun, because like that's what will drive someone. I would imagine to crazy.
If there's anywhere you need the metal detectors, that's
the metal detectors. Right. And the dude who just like literally just went through all my stuff, and everyone's stuff. And then you had to wear a mask. And this was interesting because now there's no mask mandates, but you do in federal agencies, just so everyone knows. So I thought, well, okay, I'm going to be on Twitter soon. And then, so I was gone for like hours, and I come back, and what happens? Twitter got sold.
Oh, it changed hands. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So what do you think of that? Are we going to have free speech now, or is that was the rumor? I don't know.
To quote somebody I hate with the passion of 1,000 suns, nothing will fundamentally change.
I'll echo that.
I would be very surprised if anything major changed.
Maybe they'll verify me. They still won't. Twitter still won't verify me. Maybe I do
think it's necessary to again point out how disgusting it is that kind of money got spent on just such an arbitrary thing, to keep a site afloat that, as much as I love it for all its flaws, it's pretty much dead in the water compared to where it used to be. You just think of all the things you could do with $40 billion globally. And it's hard not to be enraged. But in terms of what it means for Twitter, I don't think much. And in terms of free speech, I mean, again, this is the guy that tried to pay that person to shut down their account that tracked his private plane. So I don't think he's going to be trying to let everyone say whatever they want. I think most people, especially in a position of power, I think you have a very different idea of free speech. There's a big asterisk on your definition of free speech when you have a legacy that you don't want everyone to know. And if anyone's got some unsavory shit in their closet, it's Elon Musk. So I'll be surprised if I keep my account, because I mean, half of my spoken word album was just talking about the future that Elon has in store for us. So here's to me trying to keep my account.
Well, and I guess I should just kiss being verified goodbye. All right. And it'll be your fault too, Jesse. Just because Jesse was on my stream, he's talking shit about Elon Musk.
I'll take one for the team. Why not?
And then now I can't get verified. It's all Jesse's fault.
This is me taking 2 things off of my set list for tonight. Like, not gonna do that. Not gonna.
Anyway, Reade, you know what? Let us know if we have any super chats or questions for Jesse. And I'm sorry. Okay, and in the interim, audience, think about any questions you have for Jesse or me. I suppose I'll answer whatever. And let's listen to a tune. How about it? Do you feel you feel in the mood?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
This song, this was kind of hinging on whether or not I could get permission to get the sample, because when I watched video from the infamous Capitol Hill sleepover that the squad did to get everyone thinking that they did something about the eviction moratorium. For those of you who may not know, Franco from Frank Analysis was there asking what's going to happen for people that are facing eviction tomorrow or that were evicted last week. And AOC said, we'll get to that. We'll figure that out. And then kind of kept on spewing platitudes. And finally, Cori Bush comes up and she says, we're going to turn on some music. Who wants to hear music? And everyone starts cheering and they crank up music. And Franco's shouting, people still owe money. And they just drown him out. And I've said it before, it was a very Soylent Green kind of moment where he is just losing his mind and everyone's just onto something else and they just couldn't care less. And I messaged him and I automatically started writing the song in my head. And I was like, I really need your permission to sample that clip of you yelling, because if I can't, this song just won't have teeth. But if I can, I've got a song on my hands. And he said, yeah. And
Very cool.
so I will have Franco queued up and ready to go for me here, because it's just not the same without him. And yeah, this is the song that came out of that, about what we see a lot of people refusing to admit the truth about who their elected officials are, and people who would rather believe what makes them feel comfortable. This is called Love Your Prison.
It looks to me as though you learned to love your prison. I guess you'd say you made it your own. Who knew that freedom's such a difficult decision? I bet you'll finally feel like you're home. Home. Right in the center where the halves meet. You were proud of incremental half speeds. You were getting down in that AOC dance line, hands tied, nodding to the backbeat. And you'd Secret Service dive in front of any representative alive, being asked for the very bare minimum. And you'd turn into that same kind of hard right villain you detested, should we mention they could ever muster maximum. Because liberal denial's such a lofty ataraxia, where all your morals take a backseat, not up in the cab, but in hidden panels made by federal human traffickers. Cause if you trust the autopilot, then you're just a sleeping passenger, and passively accepting that it isn't us the bastards serve. You're making peace with all the evil walking on this rancid earth, seeking unity with those who bound your hands at birth, and glancing up at fascists on a bloody day as thinking they just need a push. You know I'm not a holy man, but I'm praying for a burning bush. Yeah, I know you'd love to look away, but love, you need to look. See, there are many massacres this country manufactured that will never make the books. Now here's your fucking book. It looks to me as though you learned to love your prison. I guess you'd say you made it your own. That freedom's such a difficult decision. I bet you'll finally feel like you're home. Home on the range of excuses to justify some fracking, water down pollution, and paint a fresh coat of bipartisan charm over backroom collusion. Your consent is being manufactured by illusions, by marketing executives in federal seclusion, working day and night to keep you just a side of lucid, and to be down for calling out abuses. So fuck all these progressives who can speak on revolution once they've emptied all your powder out and spit on all your fuses. No, I prefer to judge a leader not by quality of tweets, but the six-figure book deals she chooses. All the donors he betrays, the donors he would gladly take a bullet before he refuses. The slogans he reuses, buzzwords he produces that he spews like mucus. Well, two can play at that. So here's the inner dialogue of every time I snap it, it's been fine-tuned to ruthless, and saying politics are useless. Just a bunch of loose lips tweeting cute shit, power suits, taxpayer booze trips, and a bunker at the ready when the shoe flips. Cause there will be no news clips, there will just be It looks to me as though you learned to love your prison. I guess you'd say you made it your own. Who knew that freedom's such a difficult decision? I bet you finally feel like you're home. And that's Love Your Prison.
Wow. That was amazing. That was, God, that song gave me chills. That's really cool.
And thank you again to Franco, because again, if I couldn't have done that, I wouldn't, that song wouldn't have been the same. So.
Well, you know what's amazing to me is your range. And like when I messaged you that time and said, hey, look, I need a theme song for my podcast, because I had heard your spoken written song, but I wasn't even sure your spoken word song, excuse me. I wasn't even sure you could compose like that. And you just had it, you had it done within like, yeah, like by the end of the week I had like, and it was like perfect. And an ending and a beginning of the podcast. And then you did Stabby Sabs. And what other, have you done other ones?
See, I have, I did two for Savage Joy, actually, covers. Aerials by System of a Down for one of her shows, and Road to Nowhere by Talking Heads for another, which that was super fun. I'd never played that before, and I love Talking Heads. I'd never played that song before, and now I'm actually kind of adding that into, once I get like gigs again, normal real world gigs again, that's going to be going into the set list.
So do you have a Patreon or anywhere where people can find you, like our audience that's watching?
I don't do a Patreon. Bandcamp is really my main thing. You know, my stuff is on streaming sites and like Spotify and stuff, just for ease of access. But Bandcamp is the best because they, someone can pay what they want for an album or a song, but if they want to pay more, they can. And Bandcamp only takes 15% of that. And periodically they do a day where they don't take anything from what people pay for the artist. And yeah, they've been really great. So that's kind of my main thing. But I also I get free download codes from them, and I've never wanted money to stand in the way of someone having these songs if they want. So I encourage people, if there's something you hear and you like it, send me a message on Twitter and I'll give you a code so you can download whatever for free, because that's the most important thing, is just having it heard. So
yeah, well, that's cool. But you also need to, live and work in the world. So people need to support artists. That's what I say. So, and I appreciate all that you have done for the activism movement, for, you've been a supporter of mine, and I really appreciate that.
Of course. From
the beginning, like you were one of the early ones. There are some who have joined, which is awesome. And then there are some who have left because they think, they don't really like my take, as it were, and I'm not sporting a yellow and blue flag in my Twitter feed, and so I don't fit in, Jesse. Not fitting in with the,
which is why I feel so comfortable here.
Yeah, because we've all got to say the same things the same way, or if we don't have that group think, then we're just kicked out. Yeah,
very true.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
So you and I were talking about this before the show, but so I don't want to put you on the spot, but I wanted to kind of sort this out. Bernie Sanders, AOC. So that song was, you explained, you kind of set that up well with AOC. So they're talking about Bernie Sanders for 2024. Feelings, thoughts?
Oof. I actually,
little feelings.
Well, I have big feelings. I actually have a spoken word piece that I was thinking of doing tonight that I just wrote the other day. Lucy from Blue Moon Red Wine.
Great.
She'd mentioned that she was going to be doing an episode talking about Bernie 24 prospects, and asked if I would, if I'd thought of writing anything about it. And I had a relatively slow day at work, and that's where I write most of my stuff. And
so Jesse's boss, if you're listening, thank you.
What's funny?
You keep things so boring that
my boss is the only one at my job who follows me on Twitter, and He did
So
before
he's watching right now.
He did before he became my boss. So
Yeah.
once he became my boss, I was like, well, cat's out of the bag. I mean, you know, my whole subversive side. So we're cool, right? We're good.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no,
so you're just
he's-
like announcing,
he's super
yeah,
great.
my work,
Right.
yeah, I'm just
Right.
on the downtimes.
Yeah.
Some people, you know, scroll the internet and look at nefarious things. Jesse writes music. That's
I do.
cool.
I'm on a forklift most of my time, so I can just kind of kick around some lyrics in my head, and then every time I stop, I have 3 or 4.
Dude,
type 'em
you're
out and then
operating
just kinda
heavy
go.
equipment and you're writing songs. I mean,
Don't tell
you have
OSHA, but
all-
yes.
Yeah, all respect. All
Yep.
respect, dude. If you can manage heavy, okay. I was having trouble with the microphone. I couldn't write a song and do that. That's amazing. That's way cool. I mean,
So yeah,
that's awesome.
and what's funny is like I didn't think I was in writing mode. I've also
Right.
tried to kind of turn off writing mode because I was halfway through recording my next record, and then I wrote 3 more things, and now I'm not even to the halfway point again. So like I've got to stop long enough to finish this and then go on. But yeah, the same thing happened when Misty and Glory Jones did their podcast together. She asked me if I could write something, whistleblower relaid. And
Right.
I did. And yeah, a few hours later, I was like, okay, it's been the perfect day at work for me to do this. So, so yeah, I wrote a pretty extensive piece about Bernie 24 because, a second run, I had obviously a lot of skepticism, but we all wanted to have hope. We all needed it. I feel like the speculation of a third run is just such a slap in the face. It feels
well,
like
we've all lost hope, but
exactly.
yeah.
And to also say that you would do it if Biden's not running is to basically say that you don't think anything Biden does or hasn't done is worth challenging, which again, it's insulting. It's very insulting to everybody. And yeah,
for me, Jesse, it's been like this weird thing. The day after, it was literally 24 hours after Bernie Sanders dropped out or was forced out by, the malfeasance that is the Democratic National Committee. And so he was forced out, and that next day, that's when Sally Albright's trolls and all the K-Hive trolls went after, guess who? They went after me. Just boom. Like, I mean, as a private citizen to come against a political machine, at least with Bernie Sanders, I mean, there's another political machine, like there's, whatever. But when you're a private citizen and you just have like a political machine come at you with troll farms, it's so daunting.
Exactly.
And so I had that little bit of just trauma, like through, Bernie Sanders dropping out. So this whole election series, like coming up on the fall, I'm just dreading all that bullshit starting again. But it is what it is. I mean, I just kind of let it roll off now, but still, I feel sorry for individual people that are pushing up against a narrative that they don't want heard.
Yeah.
Because you're going to just get that machine coming at you like like a thresher machine.
Yeah.
But I was going to say that with Bernie Sanders, I had hopes too, but I also had hopes for the progressives that were in Congress. And then I remember at that time, someone said to me, Tara, I know this is hard, but Joe Biden's not going to last. He'll be president for a year, maybe. So yeah, he'll step down because, he's obviously got health issues. And now he's talking about, his campaign's talking about running him again in 2024 at 82 years old. And I'm sorry, but like, and I don't think this is ageist to say this, but when my mom was 82, I would not want her running the country. She's, no longer with us, but like when she was 82, no, I mean, like we'd have arguments over, what boxed wine she wanted that night, whatever, but like she, what I'm saying? I don't know. I can't visualize Joe Biden running again, but they're talking about him doing it. And so if he runs, then Bernie says he's not going to. Is that the gist of this?
That was basically what he said, was if Joe Biden doesn't run, then he'll throw his hat in the ring.
So if Kamala Harris is running, he'll run
exactly.
against
So
her.
it's basically saying that, again, like Joe Biden is not worth running against. That is a tacit endorsement of Joe Biden. And
Wait, what does Joe Biden have on him? I wonder.
Yeah, that's
an existential question. Anyone in the audience who wants to write in a comment or a question about that, let me know. But like what, okay, so let's clean the palette a bit. So Bernie Sanders most likely won't be running because they're talking about Joe Biden running. But did you see the list of the top New York Times? I think it was top Democrats that they were going to run, and Pete Buttigieg was on it.
Yeah.
I mean, like all the people on it were just like cringe, but I don't even think Bernie was on it. Maybe he was. And I didn't see. He's an independent anyway, but he runs, I don't know. So what's he going to do this time? But nevertheless, there you have it.
God.
American electoral politics. The choice between worse and worser.
Yeah.
Evil and more evil.
Yep.
Just as evil and just as evil. I don't know. So did you want to try out the Bernie Sanders song, which I know now that'll probably, or not ready?
I would love to. Yeah. Because everything I want to say on the subject is all right there.
All right, then okay, audience, we're going to have this. Please make your comments and questions, and Reade will tell us after the song. Let's go.
This is the spoken word piece about the prospects of a Bernie 2024 run and where our electoral politics are at, in my humble opinion.
In your humble opinion.
This is called Shepherd of Hopes.
Okay.
If you fool me once, it's because I didn't think a guard was needed. And if you fool me twice, it's because I didn't learn the lesson, so it bears repeating. If you tried the same play 3 times running, it's because you know what's coming, and you didn't come to lead, you came to purposefully be misleading. But democracy is dry, it's spent a century bleeding. The husk is gaping open to the sky, out in the field where all the sheep just keep on circling and worrying and bleeding. They're waiting for the shepherd that they've tried to hide their faith in, but he's so appealing. They would gladly give their fleece at such a freeing feeling that even when he leads them to the ledge and starts to urge them on, they're positively beaming. They were told that they were on their way to save democracy, so even as they plummet, they just gloat. They don't consider screaming. And halfway up the cliff, the shepherd's cozy little mittens wrap around the staff of shattered human hopes on which he's leaning. He shows the gentle grin that used to stir your inner spark, and he says, "Not me, us," as he gestures to the oligarchs. He knows that if he runs, they're going to stop him like a stolen car. And he'll easily surrender because it bought a lot of time for laying mines in all the grassroots. Suddenly, the tiniest of movements gets you blown apart. Suddenly, you're in a play that's set on an election day and voting for the fire, unaware you're playing Joan of Arc. Suddenly, the shepherd pulls the rug and slips a hood across your clueless mug, and everything goes zero dark. I'm gonna warn you once more before it's 2024 and you fuck around and find out who your heroes are. To take a step back from the herd and you'll learn that you can spot who all the shearers are. If you really want to know the product that they're selling, I can take you where the mirrors are. If you think your voice is finally ready, I can tell you where the lyrics are. I hid them in a box I had to bury neath the cobble when they carpet bombed the promenade and raided all the street bazaars. Now all we've got's the marketplace, and you're too broke to even bother asking what the options for your treatment are. Suddenly that raw debris of homeless human dignity will find it has 100 teeth for every badge and sweeper's arm. Suddenly they speak in solidarity and each is armed. Suddenly the sheep can see the shepherd for his truest form and all pitch in at once to help him buy the farm. And now it's zero dark. And all is calm and peaceful save that distant wail of sirens that approach beside the flames of dawn. Suddenly the carrot's just a string that's on a stick and all your movements make you sick because the prize is gone. Now we could go and flee into the forest low and meek, or we can exercise our right to feast and go and graze on Biden's lawn. Because he's been sowing seeds that seep a toxin out to sap a bit from each of us and keep on leaching decades after Biden's gone. So regardless who they summon out of hell to come and do the job, it will not feel like Biden's gone.
But in that time of hopelessness, you cannot trust the shepherd when he once again comes asking you to humor him his siren's song. It's cute that you can innocently, honestly assume that's just a symptom of a system that was wired wrong, not the standard feature, basic function, primary objective of a mass hypnosis firebomb. You don't need to know the words to cry along, because someday it'll hit you like an officer who pistol whipped their ride-along, broke his jaw and kept his job and kept it moving right along, that voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. It's slow extinction by and large. It's Super Tuesday supercharged. It's all your futures, roots and all, just tossed out on a garbage barge. It's everybody dropping out to push the biggest oligarch. It's everybody voting fire, registered as Joan of Arc. Vote Bernie, 24. Uh-oh.
Wow, that was amazing. And I was so excited. I was so like wanting to like, that was great. I was hitting my unmute button and then accidentally put myself off camera. That's why
I was like, here we go. The YouTube channel just got yanked. There we go. I did it. You're right. Blame it on me.
That was amazing. That was great. So now,
Thank you.
Okay. So now I'm going to be, okay. So I'm not going to get verified by Twitter because of Elon Musk. And now all the Bernie bros that supported me are going to be like, no, she was on with Josie Jett. They were talking smack about Bernie. So thank you. Like, I think you've totally, I love
just
your
scorched
music.
earth. That's what I'm here for.
I love your music.
Anytime.
Thank you for. If I wasn't shadow banned enough now, like it's
right?
it's redundant now, right?
That's my gift. That's like my superpower. Just share it with them.
Get everyone shadow banned with you.
You get shadow banned.
You get shadow banned. You're
Everybody
a Russian
gets
agent. You're a Russian agent. Yeah, I know. It's what a world we live in.
Oh man.
Yeah, what are they gonna do now? Oh, now they have a new one. They have a new one, Jess. The new one is you're a Chinese agent.
Well, I haven't gotten
like
that
they've
yet.
held that. I swear to God, and I was gonna tweet this out, and I'm gonna before I tweet it, I'll test it out.
I'm gonna write down a list. Twitter accusation bingo. I have a Russian agent. I have bot. And
Chinese
I have
agent.
My favorite still is last time Nina ran being told that I was a Hillary Clinton operative and I was being paid to tank Nina Turner's campaign.
Ooh,
so that's really cool.
creative.
I got some really cool stuff going on.
So you were with her the whole time.
I was. Yeah, it was my greatest con.
I knew it.
Running the long con.
I knew
if you look through my lyrics, there are hidden messages that actually tell the whole story of all my.
You have little hand gestures that you send Hillary.
Right. You play it backwards, and it's just the numbers for my Hillary checks.
Yeah. There you go. I know. I always send signals to Lord Putin, as Misty and I call him.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I get called that. A Russian. What else do I get called? A grifter.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm pretty broke ass grifter, I guess I'm bad at it. Let's see, what else do I get called? Oh well, we won't go into those names.
That's
anyway.
That's what actually started the whole idea for the next record I'm working on. It's called The Grift. Literally the first line is like been called a Clinton operative, a Russian, and a grifter. And just kind of I thought about, okay, if I have a grift, what is it? Is it just crying on my songs about politics for, like literally like, so it is just kind of me listing off, if I have a grift, I guess it's this. So cool. Yeah, then I ran with that. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna call the whole album The Grift and just lean into it really hard, which is why I started doing Cy Oppenheimer, my political candidate skits, was to just kind of at the end of each of those play a little clip from each song as I kind of lead up to having it finished. But
do you, as far as like genres, because you do a lot of spoken word, but you do composition work that kind of ranges almost classical to rock to whatever. Do you have a favorite genre of music yourself that you like to listen to, or do you just
I listen to everything. I really do. And I know a lot of people say that, but like I do. I love
I love Patsy Cline. I love Amy Winehouse. I love really obnoxious, erratic stuff like the Mars Volta. I love death metal. I love really, really harsh music. Yeah, really, there's not a whole lot I don't listen to. I don't listen to an awful lot of modern pop or country. But that's about it, really. But then again, in the last few years, it's been hard for me to find new music that really does much for me. It's few and far between.
So it's not Ed Sheeran or Harry Styles that does it for you, no?
And I can still, thanks, Reade, for adding that in. There's an awful lot of backstory there with Hamilton, but that is the most common thing I hear a comparison to is Hamilton, and I can't stand Hamilton. Like it's just, it kills me. And so I had to learn really early on that I was going to hear that an awful lot. And so if I have a mission with my music, it's that the next generation of political activists, maybe someone can write a song and someone be like, hey, that sounds like Jett, and they won't have to hear Hamilton comparisons over every fucking thing they do.
That's right. They're gonna say, that sounds like Jett. There you have it. There you have it. So Reade, do we have any comments or things you want to air? I can't, you got to help me out with that, dude.
My eyesight's garbage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Silk Sonic, you know what?
You're going to have to read them. Sorry.
Silk Sonic absolutely is one of the last few albums in the last, 10 years that's like made me legitimately happy. That's like good mood music that I don't feel like is hokey or forced. That's hard, especially like after I became radicalized, for lack of a better word. I was so much more critical of songs. If they weren't political, I'm like, what are we talking? Like, let's say something. And then when someone usually is political, at least mainstream artists, it's in such a vague way that they're not really saying anything. It's very surface level.
Charlie Mack said Silk Sonic is awesome.
Vouch.
JS said pop music is garbage. The Big Mad Crab said Jesse reminds him of Flowbots. If anyone remembers,
I've not heard that before.
Flowbots.
I'll take that. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I could see that.
Someone said once in a comment that I was this generation's Phil Oakes, and as nice as that is, it also doesn't bode well for my future.
Right.
So like, can I not be? I'd rather not be. I guess I'd rather be Hamilton if we're going between the two.
Oh no.
Flowbots were on point with the Fight with Tools album. Saw them live a bunch of times living here in Colorado. They were out at protest when one municipality didn't end qualified immunity. So good for Flowbots. Right? Handlebars is the classic song from them that I remember.
And you know what's cool for all the people that like musicians I used to respect, and then I learned their politics. I'm like, oh, that sucks. There have been some people, it's a small amount, but people that will come forward and say the right thing and step up, like Danny DeVito. I didn't think I could love Danny DeVito more, but that man will throw his weight behind a union at the drop of a hat. And it's just, it means a lot. People don't realize how much it means for one celebrity to say something.
Susan Sarandon.
Exactly. Yeah. Susan. God, the day that, the song I did with Awkward for 10 Demands, she tweeted about that video, and I get a notification at work and I see like that she had typed my name out in a post and just started running around my job just going, Susan Sarandon, just freaking
just Susan Sarandon.
And what's great is like everyone at my job knows me well enough that just didn't raise any eyebrows. They didn't need any context. They were like, oh, Jesse's got something happening.
Yeah. And it's nothing to do with the forklift. It has
right, exactly. I may or may not just shout out Susan Sarandon's name once in a blue moon.
Yeah. She is amazing. She has stood, she is the only celebrity besides Rose McGowan who has stood by me like throughout this whole journey that I've been on. And I appreciate her. She stands by survivors. She stands by working class people. She stands by, she's very consistent, whereas other celebrities are kind of clout chasing sometimes or whatever. You know, I like
And shout out to
Susan
Rose too.
Sarandon.
Yeah, Rose reached out to me once, and she was really sweet. So
Rose McGowan is
She-
amazing.
she suffers through a lot of bullshit too. So
Yeah, she does. She's very cool.
Yep.
Well, you know, and as far as celebrities, there's two. That's fine.
right. God, I
Yeah.
know.
And then
Izzy
there's
said
Reade,
that
right?
she was in New York City today with Donziger.
Nice.
Rose, I think,
Nice.
or Susan, one of the two.
Yep.
Susan, yeah.
Yeah, and congratulations to Stephen, man, because that was a long time coming. So
Here's the existential question right now. Is it Susan Sarandon's fault that Elon Musk bought Twitter?
I mean, that's an obvious yes.
Right.
Do you even need to ask that?
Because Hillary lost because of her. And or no. And remember when they blamed me for ending the Me Too movement? I think that was in August of 2010 when they said Tara Reade ended the Me Too movement. It had nothing to do with what Joe Biden did. Of course, it was me. It was my fault.
Exactly.
And the
Yeah.
other
Big Mad
7
Crab.
women that came forward. It was
Yeah.
our
Big
fault.
Mad Crab said we need Rose McGowan on Politics of Survival. So yeah, that'd be a good show. I'm down for that.
Yeah,
That'd be
she's you know she's doing her thing right now. She's resting. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta lay low once in a while, man. I can only imagine.
Yes. And you know, and I think, you know, sometimes an act of activism is simply being alive.
Mhm.
In my case, being
Exactly.
present.
Yep. Yep.
Present and accounted for.
You know what?
like,
You
I
asked.
don't know if you
Sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
No, you.
This weekend, the LA Times came out with there's a controller's race, and anyway, they had talked about how, you know, the person that was running was talking about how Joe Biden was a rapist, and they talked about that in the article, or he had tweeted it or whatever, and they were criticizing him. They talked all around his sexual misconduct and the alleged sexual assault without once mentioning my name, which was reminiscent of when they actually were having an article about Time's Up, about the corruption, about them using my case in the Cuomo case to try to, you know what I mean, to smear the Cuomo survivors, and scrubbed my name out with a stealth edit, and then Fox called them out. And I'm like, God, you know, it's just so amazing. It's like, I mean, it's so partisan. Like sexual assault is not partisan.
Yep.
I don't know how, can we explain it slowly to shitlibs? Like they don't ask if you're a Democrat or Republican or an elite, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
It's so frustrating. That was my rant.
Yep.
I'm done. I should put it to spoken song.
Right. I got a couple beats I can send you if you want to.
There you go. There you go. But but what for you, like, because you wrote a song about me and you performed it last time, you get inspiration from some current events and world events. Do you ever draw from your personal life? Do you ever write really personal songs, or no? Do you stay with them?
I've had a few. There's actually a song on the same acoustic EP that your song is on, that's called Ghost on the Lawn, that was actually about being a parent and trying to stay present. I've always felt like I've had this tendency when I'm having like a really great day with my son to dwell on the fact that like how uncertain our future is and how just fleeting time is, how quick your kids grow up and stuff like that. And those kind of pervasive thoughts that have always made me question, like, am I so focused on being present in the moment that I'm not being present in the moment, you know, that I'm so worried about making it count because it's fading away, you know,
Right.
For a myriad of reasons. So Ghost on the Lawn was a very, very oddly personal, is kind of questioning how much I've unraveled over the last couple years, to be honest.
Okay.
And yeah, and I didn't, when I wrote it, I didn't know if I would put it out, but it's over a very dry, raw acoustic guitar bit, and it fit with that album really well. But usually it's just here and there. In fact, the last song I'm going to do tonight is probably one of the more personal because it talks about actually what we've been talking about, that change after you've woken up and you realize how things are, that there are days where you wish you could forget and enjoy a movie without seeing all the propaganda in it, or enjoy a song at face value. And so many of those things got harder and harder. And yeah, it's about that. And it does discuss trying to, you know, teach my son how the world is without bombarding him with it all at once, because it's a lot to take in. The truth is not fun, but I also don't want him to grow up thinking anything other than, you know, a little bit at a time. But what, you know, it's important that he knows what he's up against and what the world's gonna look like when he's an adult.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to unsee once you see. Like, and unhear once you hear. It's like my awakening came when I was working for the Senate and working in the Congress and working for some of those elites you see that are still there. They were older than me then and are still there and belong in retirement. And I wish that they would just like pass the torch on to the younger generation and let the younger generation step up. And
oh gosh, the Dianne Feinstein article you shared yesterday, where it was like, you know, I mean, the median age of Californians is going up. So shouldn't you have someone with dementia making your decisions for you?
They will do anything. I swear to God, the mainstream media will do anything to propagandize and prop these people up. It's amazing. Meanwhile, she has robbed the coffers of California for how many decades now?
Exactly.
You know, and you know, she's a piece of work, that one. But like, and Nancy Pelosi too. And you know, they're just, they all belong. They all. So in the fall and the electorate, that's people's chance, you know, and I'm not a huge believer anymore in electoral votes, but I hope people don't do that whole thing where they're like, oh, we got to vote for blue no matter who and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I hope we're over that. Do you think we are?
I don't. And a while ago, I thought that I was going to be able to just ignore those people, but now I'm going to let those people have it with both barrels. When I get the texts, like I've got a paragraph just saved, I'm going to copy paste it and just start. Like, why not?
Your own,
you know,
troll farm of one.
Exactly. Yep.
Right. Well, okay. So you said you had another song on Inya for us. Before you do that, could you remind everyone when your new debut is of your podcast?
So we'll be firing up the first episode of the show on May 3rd, right? Tuesday? Yes, May 3rd.
What time?
We will be 10 Eastern.
10 Eastern time.
Yep.
So that's 7 Pacific.
Yep.
And 8 Central. And I'm saying that because I always forget to put Central, but one of my supporters always posts the Central time. And thank you, because I don't mean to forget about the Midwest. I lived on a farm in the Midwest. And oh my God, I know you got to get up early and get those cows done. So I know you need to know what Central time is so you can go do that.
Yeah, no, we're doing
you betcha, bud. Oh, you betcha.
You betcha.
Don't you know?
Yeah. Don't you know? So if you're from North Dakota, Wisconsin, Minnesota, you know what kind of accent I'm doing right now. And if I'm butchering it, I'm sorry. But I could subject you to my Irish accent, which is even better. There you have it. All right. So away we go. So your song that you're going to do tonight, what is the title? And
this song is called Red Pilled. And yeah, this was those moments where you wish you could just kind of spend a day not knowing everything you know. And definitely one of the more personal. Yeah, here we go.
It better being blind when I couldn't read between the lines. couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. I think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. Thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. They both bleed us so dry. My favorite songs don't hit the same way. I get to the end of a 4-minute track, and I'm only looking back thinking, what did they actually say? And so I try to sit down with my wife and watch TV, but I just see propaganda elevating the police in the simplest of sitcom banter. The tiny little altars full of offerings to corporate masters in every well-planned wide pan shot of the name brand stocking up the pantry. Pull back one long tracking shot out to the garage to the logo on the Camry. A nice tight shot of the Camry, close-up view of the Camry, slow pan up on the Camry, long slow zoom to the unmoving human who's up in the front with a tube pumping fumes to him straight from the back of the Camry. Ashamed he just could not provide for himself, let alone for his family. It's a blue pill mindset that spent 2020 making dance beats. Better being blind when I couldn't read between the lines. I couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. I think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. Thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. Both bleed us so dry. No ignorance is bliss, which explains why a lot of us are so fucking happy and quick to take the trip for all its trappings. Never one to ask what's up, what's going on, or God forbid what's happening. A lot of us would strap into the ride and spit right in the eye of the guy whose job it is to snap your fastening. But honey, maybe we're all born with that capacity. Maybe each of us comes standard with humor, compassion, malice, and audacity. Some of us are blind to the system, but some see it fine and say this is how it has to be. Some of us can stare wide-eyed at a nationwide human catastrophe and only offer platitudes and recipes. And God, I wish that I could tell myself nothing's worth obsessing past my everyday necessities. I wish that I could cry fake news over anything that threatened me, tune out our abuses and consume a little levity. I wish that I could offer up my son a smoother destiny. Wish I had some better lessons for how best to answer questions on the things I'll be perpetually questioning. But I'm too busy looking at our leaders, wondering what I might be missing from their messaging. I'm trying to find the reasoning to let 500,000 people meet an early reckoning. And even though I know the truth, it's hard to swallow something that's so literally sickening. Hope is ever dwindling, COVID ever beckoning. Winter slows your breathing, but your pulse is ever quickening. Now even though I know the truth, it's hard to keep listening. I'm done with my epiphany, my innocence is blistering. I like to think I'd taste the earth before I'd ever kiss the ring. It's hard to speak the truth and harder still to keep listening. Sometimes I think I miss being blind when I couldn't read between the lines. Couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. I think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. Thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. Both bleed us so dry. And that's Red Pilled.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I love it. I love your music. You are awesome.
Thank you so much. Seriously. It means the world. Thank you.
Everyone follow Jesse Jett, please. on Twitter. He is amazing, and follow his music, and follow him on Bandcamp, where you can get his music, and then also tune into his new podcast that I'll definitely share the links and promote as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Reef.
Yeah,
from
seriously, Reef. Thank you so
INN.
much.
Yeah.
You're very welcome.
And
You
chat,
just-
Indy, Cynic, everybody. Charlie. I don't know if Charlie's still here.
Indy is great. And all, I
Greg, Big
think-
Mad Crab. He just got done making the cover art for my show, like the logo, and it's so funny. Like
nice.
I can't wait to post it. It's just ridiculous. It's so great.
Oh, cool.
So very excited.
Good. Well, that's amazing. Well, congrats on that. Congrats on your new show. And thanks, INN, for supporting content creators. We need it, and it's amazing and it's wonderful. And tomorrow I'm going to be on live at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. But anyway, 5 o'clock Pacific. I'll be on live with Jeffrey Ventura, who is the whistleblower for SeaWorld, and talking about
nice.
the documentary Blackfish. So please
Awesome.
join us for that live stream. Jesse, as always, it just felt really, you know what, I have to tell you, I was like, when I was looking forward to coming to this, because I was kind of rushing because of the time warp that I was in that bureaucracy that I was doing all day. I was like, oh, I'm looking forward to relaxing, doing a live stream. Some people don't find live streams relaxing, but Reef has it all engineered. So all I have to do is show up and listen to beautiful music and talk to everybody. So
Awesome. It was a blast. Seriously, it was so much fun.
thank you. And hey, audience, thank you for showing up with your comments. And I read all the comments, even if I don't read them out loud, and Reef's read some of them. And so thank you so much for participating in our live stream. So we'll see you tomorrow. Tune in. This was the Politics of Survival. Thank you, everybody. Keep the fight up. Absolutely.